Good morning, everybody. Rick and Deb here. We are just a little ways outside of Independence, Kansas at the Laurel Ingalls Museum. It's an outdoor type museum. There's a log cabin, a barn, a schoolhouse, and it's just a really nice. Last time we were here, I don't believe all of this was here. Uh, I just don't remember all this being here at that time. Um, I do have some information on it here. I did not memorize all this. Let me kind of get it undone here. Okay, Little House on the Prairie Museum is 13 miles southwest of Independence, Kansas. It's got a log cabin, 1870 replica. It's got a, like I was saying, it's got a log cabin from 1870. It's got a one-room schoolhouse, a one-room post office and farmhouse. It's got an 1890s barn, and it's got a hand-dug well that Charles Ingalls had dug. It's supposed to have miniature donkeys and horses. I don't see those out here as of this moment. Um, the house was lived in from 1869 to 1871. So let's just go around and look at all these old buildings today, this morning. Okay, like I said, we're here at the Little House on the Prairie Museum, here just a little ways outside of Independence, Kansas. There's a museum, there is a gift shop inside, but all of it, the museum is on the outside. So let's kind of walk around here and just take a look at all these buildings. Historic farmhouse and gift shop. This farmhouse was built in the late 1800s. It is similar to the dozens of farmhouses that dotted the prairie in the 1800s and early 1900s. The house has 2 rooms on the first floor and 2 small bedrooms on the second floor. It was heated by wood stoves in each room, and scorch marks are still visible on the floors. Many of the original features remain, including hardwood floors, stovepipe outlets, woodwork, and narrow stairwell to the upstairs. Plumbing and water were added in 1960. In 1923, Bert Horton, grandfather of the present owners, bought this farm. Little did he know that it would become a famous historic site where Laura and her family once lived. Bert moved to the back room to the side and converted it to the kitchen. The garden was to the west, and a small shoe horse was found in the garden. The garden was to the west, and the small shoe horse, was found in the garden. The horseshoe is on the display in the cabin. Okay, I'll have to go look at that. The Ingalls owned Pet, Patty, and Bunny. They were small horses known as Mustangs. Who knows, maybe it belonged to one of them. This house was inhabited continuously until 1960, when the present owners, Bill Curtis and his sister Jean Schodorf, inherited the property. It has withstood winds, rain, hail, and prairie fires. It now serves as the Little House on the Prairie Museum Gift Shop. Okay, cool. Let's just kind of wander around here a little bit and look at these old buildings and such. There's the old barn over there. Now, I don't know if you can access that or not. Um, okay, let's read this. Bert Horton purchased this property in 1923, 12 years before Laura Ingalls Wilder published her classic Little House on the Prairie. The barn was needed to store hay bales that fed livestock through the winter. Bert built 7 barns through the years, always putting his signature cupola and weather vane, a horse, on top. After restoration, we dedicated it to Bert's great-grandson, Scott Eric Curtis, who passed away in 2009. Scott is current owner, journalist Bill Curtis. The barn quilt. The pattern hanging on the barn is the same pattern Laura used for her hope chest, called Doves in the Window. He and Laura got married after Almanzo finished building their first home. He and Laura got married. He surprised her by bringing home her hope chest. He also put her quilt on their bed, which was waiting for her when he brought her home for the first time after their wedding. Okay, that's really interesting. I don't know if we can walk around here or not. I think there might be a way. Let's go around here and look at the barn. Let's see if we can just walk around there real quick. I don't know though. I have to go and ask if we can walk around the barn. I'll do that here in a minute. Boy, every time I turn around, there's more cars parked out front. Boy, it's popular today, being a cold, windy day, but we're here. So, any rate, let's just kind of walk around here a little bit, and see if I got permission to walk over to where the barns are. This is the Ingalls home, and I don't think we're allowed to go upstairs, but I will go ask her in a minute when she's not so busy. Here's a wood carving of Laura Ingalls in this flower bed here. Okay, let's walk on over here. It's really not all that bad today. It is a little brisk. It's because of the wind mainly. The lady in the gift shop said it's usually always windy out here. There's a picture of carving right there. Here's another sign that says childhood home of Laura Ingalls Wilder and birthplace of Carrie Ingalls. Little house on the prairie, the historic home site. Rutland Township, Montgomery County, Kansas. It's really quite lengthy. It just says they arrived here in 1869 on the Osage Diminished Reserve. It's really quite lengthy, but anyway, you get the idea. Okay, here's where they traveled. They were in North Dakota, Minnesota, on the banks of Plum Creek, South Dakota, by the shores of Silver Lake, the long winter, little town on the prairie, these happy golden years, the first 4 years, Nebraska, little house in Big Woods, Wisconsin. The one was 1862 to 1868, and then 1871 to 1874. Iowa, Burr Oak, Iowa, 1876 to 1877. South Dakota, they lived in DeSmet from 1879 to 1941. Walnut Grove, 1874 to 1876. 1877 to 1879. Boy, Nebraska shows all the towns. Iowa, Kansas, Marysville. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, here, we're down here. Marysville, Westmoreland, St. Mary's, Missouri on the way home, Oklahoma. This is the route they traveled. It's right down here, and then it goes. This route they traveled up from Missouri to Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. Boy, they got around now. I didn't know they moved that much. They really did. Here is a quote from Laura Ingalls Wilder. This is: "The good life overcomes more difficulties and dissipates more dark clouds than any other one thing." I guess that's very true. These trees, well, this tree is really kind of interesting. It's got that knot in it, and then this might have been a tree too at one time, I'm not sure. And there is a cobblestone type of a walkway that goes to the house, the main house, and to where the current bathrooms are. There's an outhouse. We're going to go look at that here in a minute. It's got a fork, and you can either go to the house or you can go to the restrooms and the outhouse, which I'm sure that's what they used back in the day. Okay. Oh, let's go up here. And look at this hitching post. Hitching post. From the home of Captain J.E. Stone, Caney, Kansas, first sheriff of Montgomery County from 1871 to 1875, he was a witness at approximately 1865. Okay, and here is the hitching post. Okay. Now here's a log cabin. Look at this great big pot over here. That thing is huge. This log cabin resembles the one described as Ingalls' home in Little House on the Prairie. This log cabin resembles one described as Ingalls' home in Little House on the Prairie. The Osage signed the treaty selling the land to the government on September 10, 1870. The family home was listed as the 89th residence of Rutland Township in the 1870 U.S. Census, and the family lived here for about 1 year. In her book, Laura told of building the cabin, of encounters with Indians, going to Independence for supplies, and of Dr. Tan's treating the family members for fever in Agua. Dr. Tan's grave is in Mount Hope Cemetery in Independence. Okay, let's go check out the cabin. Okay, let's go inside. Boy, it is tiny. Here's the oil lamp for their lighting. And here's their fireplace. And look at the cast iron skillets. Here's our cast iron skillets and pots and such. And here's a 6877 is written in the concrete. 6877, 1877. Well, that's just pretty cool. Another oil lamp, coffee pot, porcelain doll. There's that. These would have held matches, and these would have held candles. There's a piece of board with horseshoe on it, and again, these would have held candles. There's one over here, there's one over here, and there's their bed. And that might have been the bed for the baby, and then they had boy, let's go over here. They had wicker basket there, a scrub board, a chair made out of a log, I would assume, a tree trunk, maybe. And there's a spinning wheel, what they would make their quilts and things of that nature with. Now on this side, there's another one of those chairs. There's where they would churn butter. And there's a jug there and some more stuff. I'm not sure what that is. And then here's some more. Oh, that's a saw right there. A bag and another candle. Wow. And they got a little window here with curtains on it. Yeah, really very nice. Small, but very cozy. Oh, I didn't even see this. This is what they would stoke the fire with. If I get my camera to focus in here. Well, I'm trying. Let me see if it will focus in here. Okay, it's not going to focus in. I'll maybe focus in here in a minute. Okay. There we go. All right, I was about to give up. There is the instrument that they would fan the coals with to make them hotter. Here's another little bed. And then of course here's their table that they would eat at, complete with the cups for coffee or milk or whatever. And then here's a bowl of some sort, and that might have been for silverware. And another oil lamp. Okay, just really cool. Yeah, really cool. Would have been real cozy, I would thought. Okay, we're going to work our way on around. As we're walking here, I'd let you know that I've been using different cameras through these videos. I've used my cell phone camera. I'm using my regular camera right now. I've used my wife's camera phone. Regular camera, and I'm going to be using her cell phone camera. When I get that all done, I'm going to kind of compare what does the best job in recording. So far, my cell phone camera, the only thing about it is it just don't last very long. And my regular camera, I don't think I'll do any more videos with this, because what it does is it cycles through all the settings, and you got to really play with it to get it to stay in one mode. So it takes good pictures. It just does this thing with cycling through the modes, and you've got to watch it really close, or it'll mess up on you while you're filming. That's what happened to me several times this morning. But hopefully when I get it edited, it'll edit out okay. Here's an old wagon. I've really got to watch the time on this. It goes like for 10-minute intervals. But when you go to push the record button again, it'll start cycling again. So I probably won't use it anymore. I've only probably got 2 more devices to use, and I'll probably start going back to my action cameras again. That's pretty good. That's a pretty cool old wagon there. My wife's taking pictures. We'll have hopefully some plenty of pictures. This is the U.S. Post Office, Wayside, Kansas 67366. We were here several years ago, and I just don't remember all this. Maybe I don't know. Wayside, Kansas Post Office. The historic Wayside, Kansas Post Office was moved to this site in 1978 after it officially closed by the United States Postmaster in 1979. The original location was less than a mile from here in the town of Wayside. The post history of the Wayside dates back to 1887, when the growing town was established due to the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad. The first mail service was delivered to the post office by horseback or wagon from Independence. The original names of the Wayside citizens are still visible on the post office boxes. These same family names now reside at the Harrisonville Cemetery, located half a mile east of the museum. Okay, let's see if we can go in this really old post office here. I think we can. Well, look here. Okay, here you go. We're inside the old. There's a picture of old Abraham Lincoln. This is where your boxes would be, that your mail would go in. U.S. mails, letters. There's a counter. The postal worker would help you with whatever you needed. Here's the old U.S. mail sign. more post office boxes, and then these had combinations, and you would turn them to open your boxes. They're all numbered, and there's 2 dials on each box. I'm assuming would control how to open and close the box. Here's a replica of the little house on the prairie. On the wayside post office, just what we read out there. 1885 to 1977. Stagecoach, half and half. Tobacco, and a little oil lantern. Grand rush for the end-to-end territory. Now's a chance, it says. Procure a home. Okay, now we're going to go back here. Now, this would have been, I assume, the living quarters for the postmaster or the postal worker. There's a bed, you know, your counter area where you'd work. Here's an old Sears and Roebuck catalog from 1902. Here's a newspaper, September 18, 1880. That's so cool. There's a little stool over there, a little counter. Here is, of course, a stove. Look at that big coffee pot. And that fan, again, is what you would fan the heat, the coals to keep them hot. There's a grinder over there, a place to weigh the mail, and a telephone. And then that up there on the wall, I'm not sure what that is. Let me kind of zoom in here. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, that's all right. A cool old phone there. Okay. Oh, here you go. Here's a like a chow wagon, maybe. A shovel and a rake. And the story of our country. Independent National Reader. Kansas Fourth Reader. Columbus Series. Little books. And yes, that's exactly what this is. There's your stuff that you would need to make meals. Yep, that's a chuck wagon. That is a chuck wagon. And then here's a big, huge trunk. And this is a box of some sort. A little suitcase. A map. That's interesting. I did not realize that the postmaster or postal worker actually lived in the post office at that time. There's another little pot over there. We had everything he needed, he or she needed, to cook and work and everything all together. Didn't have to go very far. Jump up out of bed and have breakfast and go to work. Sorting out all the mail. That looks like a lamp. That looks like a light they would have used for maybe like railroad or something of that nature. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. Of course, all that would have been off limits to the general public or customers. Okay, well, that's pretty cool. I miss this chest, and this up here, I'm assuming that goes on that's part of the device where you put that on the horse and it would carry, or even your shoulders maybe, and carry like pails of water or something like that. I'm not real sure about that. But anyway, let's go on. The old screen door here. Yeah, that's just pretty cool. Okay, here you go. Here's the bell. Obviously, at one time there's a string up there, and a bell would have been up in there, and the string would have come down here, and the school teacher would have rang the bell, and that would mean that school is in progress. And there's the flagpole, and there's birdhouses all along here that represent the buildings. Uh, there's the church we've not been to yet. There's the church. Let me kind of zoom out here a little bit. You can see this. There's the church. There's the post office. I'm assuming, and then over here would be the home. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, okay. Now let's go back down here and go through the Sunnyside Church. I'm sorry, school. Sunnyside School. The Sunnyside School was dedicated in 1872 as a one-room schoolhouse with capacity for 36 students. Some years, as many as 50 crowded in, sharing desk. 18-year-old Lillian Jones, great-grandmother to the owners, arrived in 1901 and rode a horse through pastures and prairie to teach all 8 grades. Her students ranged from 5 to 17 years of age. She made $25 a month for a 4-month term. This school is similar to the one that Laura, Mary, and Carrie would have attended had they stayed in Kansas. Bill and Wilma Curtis, the founders of the museum, moved the school to this location in 1976 as a memorial to Lillian Jones Horton and all teachers in Kansas. It will always be Grandma's school to the Hortons of 4 generations. Okay, well, let's go in there and take a peek at the school. Okay, there's a pot-bellied stove right there, and water bowl maybe, and here's some books, and just little odds and ends here as well. Some games. Okay, what's over here? Okay, over here we have, it looks like medicines. There's a big, huge dictionary or medical book. That looks like it might be a coffee grinder. Then they have, or maybe medicine grinder, maybe, I mean for like pills and such. And then here's all kinds of bottles containing different kinds of medicines, I guess. If the child got sick, then they had some place to go. They could come in here and get treated for whatever ailments they might have had. Yeah, this is really cool. Here's another stagecoach. Kansas seal flower bleach. Okay, and that just tells us about the historic schoolhouse, which we read out there. And books. Oh, here's a replica of their log cabin right there. And these are different kinds of books. History of Kansas, second reader, spelling books. Yeah, just all kinds of books for the kids to study with. Pioneer medicine, and it shows what medicines they had at the time. Cocaine toothache drops. Okay. Wow. Now let's go over here. There's a blackboard over here. Oh, here's a picture of the kids with the school teacher. And then this is Zelda Bracken, 1910 to 1911. And then this that looks like a turtle shell, and There's some skeleton parts that looks like turtle shells right there, and just all kinds of books. All kinds of books. Isn't that neat? And then here's the schoolroom. The piano up there up front. The teacher's desk. Let me kind of zoom this in a little bit so you can see. This part's all roped off, that's okay. Maps on the wall. That was probably a water container, porcelain for water. And look how little those desks are. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. They are tiny compared to what the kids have today. But I suppose they worked out all right. Now there was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 5 in that row. 1, 2, 3, 4 in that row, and it just goes on. 5 in this row, and now these would have been for 2 students. These would have been, then there's your inkwell there in the middle, so they could write. And there's a little blackboard up there and another piano. Okay, and there's our big blackboard up there. Let me kind of zoom in here a little bit and let you see. Yeah, globe up there on the teacher's desk. Looks like a little bell that would signify, okay, kids, it's time for school to start. Picture of old Abe Lincoln there. Abraham Lincoln. And of course, George Washington. And oil lamps and more maps. This would have been of 1870s era. We've been to villages like this before. As I was saying, we've been to villages like this before with the cowtown type of buildings and schoolhouses and churches and that sort of thing. There's a really nice cowtown in Wichita, Kansas. I think there's one in Abilene as well. Abilene, Kansas is another nice one. But yeah, that's it. That is their schoolroom of the 1870s. Really pretty cool. I mean, can you imagine how hot it would have been in the summer? Well, they didn't have much summer, I guess. But how cold it would have been in the winter. I mean, they do have the stoves. Well, I don't know, though. I don't really see a stove in this particular area. Let's look. No? Look, these look like old theater seats. Look at that. I didn't even see these. Huh, well, I'll be. Yep. It says, the Pioneer Medicine. This exhibition features original and reproduction items that would have been used during Laura Ingalls Wilder's lifetime to treat illnesses and injuries. Oh, okay. Can't get over that cocaine toothache drops. Okay, well, that would have been interesting. And here's some of the other medicines that they would have used. Many 19th century medicines would be illegal today. Yeah, I have no doubt. Pills, potions, elixirs, salves, and poultices were commonplace to treat illnesses and injuries. Wow, that's scary. But anyway, all right. I think the only stove I see is right there. That is their one and only stove in this little room in here. That's crazy. Huh. I've noticed they've inserted modern lighting, which would not have been here, of course, way back then. That's kind of different, though. Yeah, my camera's out of focus again. It'll come back in focus here in a minute. Yeah, it's trying. Here we go. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. But as I was saying, this does not... Of course, I've had this for quite a few years now, and it might just be getting worn out. I don't know. I want you to look at these stepping stones and this and these steps. There is something carved in some of these. This one says 1939. Just really quite different. Okay, well, let's walk on around here. We're gonna make our way on around and see what else we can see here today. Boy, the wind gets bad out here on the prairie. Boy, they were just out here in the middle of nowhere back in the day. Let's go over here and look at see what this sign says over here. Osage Village. In the book, Little House on the Prairie, Laura frequently refers to the Osage tribe that lived on the prairie near the cabin. Pa settled on this location, thinking that Congress had acquired the title to the land so settlers could begin moving into the Kansas Prairie. However, the ownership of the present site was in question. The Ingalls built their cabin in or near the Osage Diminished Reserve. The Osage left their main camp 3 times a year to go hunting. It is believed that the main camp was near Coffeyville, Kansas. The Osage lived in wigwams at the permanent village, but when they went on hunting trips, the Native Americans took their teepees. The Osage Village exhibit is dedicated to the Osage Native Americans who lived on the site and the surrounding land during the 1880s. Congress paid the Osage $1.25 an acre in 1871 to buy Osage Diminished Reserve. The Osage tribe moved to Oklahoma Territory. Okay, well, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, they do have the horses and monkeys over here. We're going to go take a look at that here in just a minute. We still have some other things to look at. Okay, we've been to their log cabin, the post office, and the schoolhouse. Okay. Let's go on over this way, and we'll look at some more buildings and such over here. You know, there's animals over there, so I would imagine we're not allowed to go into that area. I was looking at this farm implement earlier, and it's really quite interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not a farm implement expert, especially really old implements. Of course, that's where the driver would have said. That would have been the handbrake, I assume. Yeah. These 2 canisters up here, I am not really sure, unless they were for feed or for seed. It's got Canton, Illinois, U.S., and it's got P and O on it. And it might be seed. This very well could have held seed. Other than that, I really don't know. Well, let's walk over here and let's take a look at the outhouse. I'm assuming this might have been the original outhouse. Okay, like I was saying, I'm assuming this is the original outhouse is locked. We cannot get in there. But I want to show you this furniture over here. Now, how cool is this? It's made out of tree branches and that sort of thing. Is that cool or what? That sure is. And there's another one over here. And of course, there's picnic tables out here. So you can probably come out here and have a picnic. It's a lot more or less windy than it is today. The lady in the Gift shop said it's always windy out here. This is a hand-dug well. We're going to walk around here and let you take a look at it. Of course, they've got the well part concreted over. And this one, the bucket, that looks like that's probably not the original bucket, but that's okay. It's a hand-dug well. That's pretty cool. And of course, like I was saying, this here would probably be what you use to turn. It's really pretty heavy. This would have been what you would have turned to bring the well up, or to put the well down, the bucket into the well, or out of the well. This would have turned this right here would have turned this. Okay, I'm so sorry. This keeps shutting down on me. I can't even get said what I want to say. This, as I was saying, this here would have turned that to lower the bucket or to bring it back up again. The hand-dug well, the water was clear, cold, and good. Laura thought she had never tasted anything so good as those long, cold drinks of water. Pa built a solid platform over the well and a heavy cover for the hole that let the water bucket through. Pa must have dug this well in 1869. It is 20 feet deep and rimmed with rock. It just goes on to say, Pa must have dug this well in 1869. It is 20 feet deep and rimmed with rock. It provides researchers with an anchor to determine the location of the original cabin. It is covered for safety. Yeah, kind of figured that. Okay. Let's go here and say hello to these critters over here. Mary Amelia Ingalls, from 1865 to 1920, was born near Pepin, Wisconsin. She was the first child of Caroline and Charles Ingalls, an older sister to author Laura Ingalls Wilder. At age 14, Ingalls suffered an illness thought to be scarlet fever, causing permanent blindness. A study from the Journal of Pediatrics concluded that the viral meningoencephalitis actually stole her eyesight, based on first-hand accounts, newspaper reports, and epidemiologic data. She graduated from the Iowa Braille and Saving Sight School in Winton, Iowa, and died of pneumonia at the age of 63. Okay, I think we're just about done. This is going to be probably about all of it. I think we're just about done. There's a miniature donkeys and ponies, horses rather, right over here. We'll zoom this out here a little bit so we can see them. Actually, there's quite a few. I did not realize that they had this many. Back this off a little bit. There we go. Well, they said that they were out here. By golly, here they are. Okay. I think this pretty much concludes our visit today to the Prairie and the property. Very blistery, cold, windy day out here today. The gift shop said it's usually very windy out here. And I believe that because we're just coming out of it. At any rate, hope you enjoyed this video today. I think we're going to go maybe drive on into Independence and get a bite to eat somewhere. Hope you have a really nice, safe Tuesday. Go out and explore your world. Go out and have fun. See things, go places. But just be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. You know, it's just not really all that, difficult. Just make sure that I've been to some pretty sketchy areas when I've done recorded these bridges, documented these bridges. I will admit that. But most of the time, there's just nothing to worry about. But just go out and do whatever you like to do, and have fun and explore around. So as always, we're going to call it a day for now. Please like, subscribe, share, ring that notification bell. It will keep you up to date with our current videos. If you want to see those bridge videos, there's one I think we're going to go for now. And as always, we will see you on the next video. So, goodbye for now.